Hello everyone, Fancy here. You're watching FANTAVISION, and today I am discussing The Outer Worlds. Now, this is a game that really, it was on my radar, but I kind of forgot it existed. They showed it off at E3, and we all went wow, and I just assumed, oh, that's going to be forever down the road. I can forget that exists, and then all of a sudden, it just pops up that it's releasing. Like, I completely forgot. And it is a pleasant surprise. This is one of the best games I've played in a long time. Rarely do I want to keep playing a game. Like, I just wanted to keep playing this game, and I knew if I had let myself, I would have just been up until some ungodly hour. But I just couldn't put this game down. It was just so much fun. It was everything that really made Fallout 3 the unforgettable experience that I had the first time I played it, because it was just such a new thing. Now, it doesn't quite capture that newness, but it does bring me back to the feeling of like BioShock and early Fallout days, back when those games were actually good. So, real quick, there's just so much I want to talk about with this game. And I know I'm doing this kind of in a different style. Usually I'm in front of the camera and I've got like the footage that'll fade in, fade out, and all that stuff. But I'm trying something new here. Let me know what you guys think. I'm just experimenting at this point. But yeah, this is like the best, and this is better than any Bethesda game since New Vegas, which, ironically enough, Obsidian made. And Obsidian had a very unique story with a lot of different extra elements that were not seen in Fallout 3. Fallout 3 was a lot more of a straight shot. I know it's a very open world, yeah, there's side quests and stuff like that. But in New Vegas, there were like weird radio stations and lore about cannibals, and then there was the clans, like the freaking the Romans that were crucifying people, and there's just so much depth to the game, and that's awesome. I feel like you're kind of getting that same sort of thing here. It feels like a game, even if the areas in this game, they're not super big, but at the same time, I kind of think that's a good thing. You really know that you're exploring every corner, and you know that thought was put into every corner of the game. A lot of these big open world games just kind of copy and paste crap everywhere. Look at Ubisoft games. Collect all these feathers. Nobody gives a shit about those feathers. Like, the 2% of people out there that 100% games will see all the different feathers and random places in the map that you copied and pasted. But this, it feels like everything was placed there by somebody, like they actually cared. And, you go off the beaten path, and you're not going to go too far off the path, so you're constantly exploring, but you're also progressing the story. I find myself kind of going all ADD and not really accomplishing anything in a lot of these open world games. So this one keeps me focused, but at the same time still lets me explore. And good God, you're seeing this footage. I don't stop looting. There's something wrong with me. I swear to God, I play any of these games and I have to loot every single freaking thing because I feel like I'm gonna miss out on some important item at some point. I'm also one of those people that will use all of the crappy potions and then save all of the good potions until the end of the game, and then wind up never using the good potions or the good weapons because you don't have enough ammo. And thankfully in this game, I haven't run into any issues with ammo. And that's the problem in a lot of these games, is you're trying to conserve ammo as much as possible because you're just gonna go find it, and money is kind of finite from what I've seen so far. I haven't beaten this game by any stretch of the imagination. This isn't a review. I have not beaten it. I've just played like 4 to 5 hours, and I'm giving my thoughts. And I just think a lot of people that might be on the edge of playing this game, I think it's worth it, especially because you can go out right now and play this game for free. Even if you don't have Game Pass, just go get a Game Pass trial. It's that easy. I feel like Gears of War might still be doing a thing where if you buy a Rockstar can, you get Days of Ultimate or whatever. I got something like that on some of those cans. I don't know. But anyway, reminds me of BioShock, Mass Effect, Fallout, all kind of wrapped into one. It's got that Fallout, feel with the gunplay. It's not amazing, but it's definitely not bad. There's some satisfying oomph to a lot of the weapons. I know that's kind of in the sound department, but at the same time it leads to the satisfaction in shooting guns. It kind of feels like Borderlands, actually, now that I think about it, when it comes to shooting guns, but I guess that kind of also falls in the Mass Effect category, where you're seeing numbers pop up, and the stronger the gun you have, the more numbers you're doing, you know what I mean? So, I mean, in that aspect, I'm not a huge fan of the numbers, because, you know, some enemies kind of get bullet spongy later on, but I guess they're robots, so it makes sense, but I don't know. I mean, the enemies, though, are varied, so that keeps it interesting. And I find the AI not completely stupid. I mean, it's not the smartest in the world, but it's definitely not as bad as a lot of other games that I've seen recently. The graphics are also something that keeps me coming back to this game. It's just so alive. I know we're not really in that period of just grays and browns anymore. I mean, even the new Gears of War game is super colorful, which is kind of to its detriment in my opinion. But this game, it's so good looking. I mean, it's got that BioShock feel. That's why I really feel like BioShock is the graphics. I mean, they're not amazing. I mean, the character models could use some work, but overall, the graphics they're good. They really are. And it feels like the game has an art design instead of just going for amazing visuals, which I also applaud for that as well. But yeah, like I said, the sound is great, the guns are punchy, they don't sound super weak. I mean, the pistol does a little bit, but it's a pistol, so I mean, I'm not really blaming the game for that. And something that I've noticed in a lot of games, especially like Fallout or even Skyrim, is I normally find myself listening to my own music outside the game, because either the soundtrack or the atmospheric noise just isn't enough. I mean, with mods, Skyrim has a lot of atmosphere, but the base game of a lot of these Bethesda games, they're just, I mean, the radio, you can only hear those old-timey songs so many times, but for some reason, I just never found myself wanting to listen to other music while playing this game. It's great. I really like it. It's varied enough to be interesting, and it's not super forgettable, but at the same time, it's just kind of there, if that makes any sense. But it's definitely not annoying, which is nice. I've played some games like Xenoblade Chronicles X for the Wii U. I know nobody's played that game because nobody owned a Wii U, but the music in that game was awful. It was dreadful. And the game doesn't feel super, you know, lonely or, I don't know, just kind of bland because it's not quiet all the time. It definitely does have a soundtrack, which is really nice. I also really like the characters in this game, which is kind of a difficult thing to find nowadays. I mean, The Witcher 3 had a lot of really interesting characters, and I'm trying to think of other games, but nothing is coming to mind right off the bat. But the characters are really interesting. I mean, the side characters will talk to each other while you're just walking around. They're helpful. They have their own little quests. They have relationships, and you can help them through their relationships. I mean, there's so many different nuances to these characters that they feel like people. You know, so it's nice that they gave these side characters a personality when they could easily just make them a running gun. I mean, that's what most games do. But because they can interact in your conversations, even with characters that really aren't that big of a deal. I remember there was like this criminal character down below that I was talking to, and my side character chimed in. It was great. And then if you've got two side characters, they'll reply off of each other. So that means they had record all these different voice lines depending on the situation, which is really cool. So I like the fact that the characters actually have something to them. There's some depth. They're not a cardboard cutout that is on a Roomba with a machine gun. So that's nice. Also, the RPG elements, they don't feel overly complicated, and they don't feel too simplified. You can definitely specialize in certain ways. You can decide to go all melee or decide to focus on guns, which I don't really see why you would focus on melee when there's so much ammo. I mean, it's everywhere. I know I loot literally everything in sight, and you're probably tired of seeing the gameplay of me just picking things up. But that's just so much fun to me, and because that is so much fun to me and I do it so often, I never have a problem with ammo. Maybe if you're not like me and you're not a loot hoarder, melee is a good way to go, but it just, I don't know, just the gunplay is fun enough to make it worth it. And the melee is also fun a little bit. I mean, I've done it a little bit with the hammer, and it's really satisfying to just bash somebody over the head with it, but all in all, I mean, I like the guns. I mean, they're just fun. I always like guns in games. So, those are my thoughts on The Outer Worlds. I'm not going to give it a rating or something. I'm just going to tell you to go out and play it. If I had to spend $60, would I do it? You know what? I think I would. I think this game is definitely worth picking up. I mean, there hasn't been a really good first-person shooter RPG in a long time, or even a good first-person RPG in a long time. Like I said, this is the best game kind of like this action RPG type game, since Fallout New Vegas. I mean, it's been a long time since Fallout New Vegas. So if you've been looking for the next Bethesda game that is exactly like that, and since Bethesda doesn't seem to make those kind of games anymore, this is it. This is the game right here, and highly recommend it. And you can try it for free, so there's really no reason not to try this game. It's worth your data, it's worth your time to try to get your hands on a trial, and if you can't do any of that, it's 100% worth picking up. Thanks for watching, everyone. Let me know what you guys think about this format in the comments down below. Leave a like if you like the video, and subscribe for more content. Have a fantastic day. See you guys.